You're listening to the Voices of the Voiceless podcast with your hosts, Brad Shepard and Jonathan Fisher.
I'm searching for love, Brad's searching for optimism, and we're both searching for good wrestling.
Yeah, that's whatever.
I mean, I don't know. It doesn't matter. None of what I say matters.
You can never avoid the voices of the voiceless.
Hi everybody, what's going on? Yeah, we got some bad news for you, right, Brad?
We certainly do. Let's get right to our what the fuck tweet of the week.
We're not even going to intro the show?
It's all going to tie in.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right, huh? We usually say what's going to happen during the show, what we're going to talk about.
No. This is a surprise. This is like when you go to the cafeteria at school and you get the mystery meat, you don't exactly know what it is. You're kind of like morbidly curious, like you want to poke it or perhaps even try a bite.
That sounds like
dangerous.
That sounds like Sonny's next porno. and the punchline is it's China. Talking about mystery meat right there, man. Holy hell, they could open their own deli. So, yeah, why don't we get to the what the fuck tweet of the week? I even sent you one that I thought was the crown jewel. So can I say mine first before?
Yeah, you sure can.
Okay, and no, it isn't the tweet that had me freaking out for a couple days. But you're more than welcome to tell that story if you feel like it during the show. So, speaking of, I put on Twitter that the New York Post was reporting that Triple H and Joey Mercury talked Vince McMahon out of firing Titus O'Neil after the incident on Raw. And at Do You Even Michael, but it's Mikel, Do You Even Mikel, replies, Booker T smiles down from heaven.
Yeah, I think he's getting his black guys confused.
Well, who is he talking about? Even his brother's alive. Who is that? Ron Simmons. Is it Coco Beware? Maybe he's thinking of Coco Beware. Or even the Junkyard Dog. They're both dead. Rest in peace.
Yeah, I don't really know. I think didn't Donald Trump the other day, he referred to Ben Carson as Obama or something.
Well, Donald Trump, who gets my Gold Star of the Week award, bought out JebBush.com. So when you go to JebBush.com, it goes to a Donald Trump supporter site. It's the most hilarious thing I've heard all week. So he gets my Gold Star.
That's what you call a cock slap.
Yeah. Oh, my jeez. You aren't kidding. But okay, go to your tweet of the week and I'll hit the music. And that's how we do it. And that reasoning is because it could lead to a absence on television after the summertime.
The what the fuck tweet of the week is from WWE superstar Ryback at Ryback22. He tweets, I call dibs on Wasteland and Spinning Mule Kick.
He's just that.
Yeah. Why on earth would he be tweeting that, John?
Well, let's talk about the origin of the tweet, though. When CM Punk left the company after trashing Ryback, because Ryback does suck in the ring. That's true. He did hurt CM Punk. That's also true. And I don't know if he's dumb as fuck, but if that's what Punk said, and I believe Phil Brooks over Ryan Reeves any day of the week, he tweeted, I get dibs in the GTS and the what was it, like the high knee in the corner?
And he did steal the running knee in the corner.
He did. That's true. And it looks like shit. So Rybacks, if you're listening, never do that again, please. I'm only looking out for you and your promotion on screen, not because you can't do it. just because it looks bad. No, Wade Barrett, as first reported by a Pro Wrestling Sheet. Man, that Ryan Satin, he really knows what he's doing. So Ryan Satin for Pro Wrestling Sheet reported that Wade Barrett put his notice to the company. It will be leaving the WWE after his contract's over in a couple of months.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Wade. And it all comes really out of nowhere. Since Barrett's been dealing with a neck injury, he's been on TV in his tights, but he hasn't actually been wrestling. It just supporting the League of Foreigners as they walk out, the League of Extraordinary Voices. And he's basically playing manager but dressing as a wrestler, which doesn't make any sense. And he's fed up. He's been misused. In my opinion, he's one of the most overall talents in the entire company, and yet they don't see it that way.
Yeah, a very talented guy. I think he'll have success in the Indies or wherever else he goes. He was able to talk on the mic, and, he was all right in the ring. He did seem to have a lot of untimely injuries. I don't know if he got labeled with the quote-unquote injury-prone label that's Mark Henry. Many get. But, yeah, well, that's a deserving one. But, yeah, I mean... he had some untimely injuries that prevented some pushes, and then they just really crapped on him with the King Barrett gimmick. That was just really the beginning of the end.
But it's a shame, isn't it? Because that should mean something still. When Barrett won it, I'm like, oh, they're getting they're back on the Barrett train, and I'm cool with that. I'd rather them be on the train than off the train, like most men would say, and it should stay that way. But apparently not.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought it was a big deal anyway. If you remember, the King of the Ring was on the network. It was a network special. It was kind of thrown together. And, man, he lost. He was on a huge losing streak. He was losing to R-Truth. They were making a total mockery of the title of King of the Ring. And I just absolutely hated it.
You did?
And I felt bad for him.
I thought their match was fantastic. You didn't? Neville and Barrett's match was very. Oh, stop it! It was a very.
It was all right. I'm just saying the premise of the whole thing was it was thrown together. It wasn't overly special, and then they just beat the guy consistently after he won it, and they mocked the whole thing by having R-Truth come out with like a plunger for a scepter and a Burger King hat or whatever. I mean, it was just ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know what don't they see in Barrett that we see. Then again, Vince McMahon's being a hypocrite because he likes big guys. Barrett's a big guy. I don't see where he doesn't think that he's a big guy. He has a great physique, good look, good in the ring. I don't understand.
Well, I guess you don't realize that he's not American, goddamn pal.
He's also not a Titan, which we found out that means something on Raw 2 nights ago. A Titan, what does that mean? Like, what does that fucking mean, a Titan? We'll get to that later. Now, are you surprised that Barrett wants to leave? And if he's healthy enough to come back, where does he go from here? To be quite honest, I see Barrett going overseas again, and maybe Progress Wrestling, Revolution Pro. I don't know. Does he work the indies in America?
There's a thriving indie scene right now in the UK. The companies you mentioned in particular have got a lot of great workers. Osprey and Skrull and Zack Sabre Jr. and a lot.
He's my favorite, man. Never sleep on Zack Sabre Jr. He's the fucking man.
It's a lot of great talent over there. A lot of great stuff over there now, especially in Progress Wrestling in particular. So he's got a lot of options over there. He can do very well over there. Is TNA an option, John?
Fuck no. Why? Okay, no. Why would you want to go there? I'm not even kidding around this time. Tell me the logical reason why you want to go to fucking Impact Wrestling. They're the worst in every category possible. The worst. They're awful. Is there another way to put it? All right. Do you remember the old school Saturday Night Live sketch with Chris Farley as the motivational speaker?
I do.
Okay, Chris Farley was fat. He was very fat, and in fact, he was very overweight. So you have Farley as the theoretical wrestling. So that entire room is the wrestling world, right? That is the wrestling universe, and the dining room table is TNA wrestling. Chris Farley is every wrestling company combined. And you want to know what happens? They crush them. They suck. There's nothing. You could not pay me to watch it. No, not even for $20 an episode. Fuck that shit. Absolutely not. It'd take at least $50. And I mean that very honestly. TNA is such a piece of shit that I don't know if you can watch it, fine, good for you. But I don't know how the hell you deal with it. So no, Wade Barrett's not going to TNA, and if he does, shame on him.
And that's a burial, folks.
It doesn't even have to be a burial, Brad. It just has to be honest. I'm just being fucking honest. They are just the worst. And with his talent, yeah, he could go make Progress or Rev Pro UK a place to be.
Yeah, he's got a lot of options, like I said, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him try and expand his work into other movies. He got some experience in that with WWE films, and I think he'll try and expand into that avenue as well. I think it's something he wants to do, but a lot can change. Maybe they change their mind. I doubt it, because really, if they wanted to keep him, when he gave notice, they would have tried to keep him, and they probably just said, okay, whatever. So
well, you want to know the problem? There's only one championship. That's a problem. And it's showing right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's gone. I don't know if he'll be back. Certainly the door will be open. He's leaving on good terms, but it's unfortunate. He's been wasted away in the League of Nations, and like I said, he's got plenty of options, so I don't feel bad for him per se, but it's unfortunate when you think about what could have been.
So Wade Barrett did comment on these rumors, because technically they're not true yet, if they decide to be true. Wade Barrett said on Twitter, quote, "I unexpectedly received a lot of very nice messages from people today. Thank you to everyone who took the time to write some kind words. I'll comment further at a more appropriate time, but for now, I am 100% focused on doing my job for WWE. See you at Fast Lane on Sunday." What did you notice from those two tweets, Brad? It's very oblivion. It's very obvious. Oblivion's not a word, but you get what I mean.
What I noticed is he's out of there. He didn't deny it.
He didn't deny it. Exactly. And honestly, Wade Barrett's a super smart guy. He has a degree in marine biology, just in case wrestling didn't pan out. And luckily for him, it did. But he's really smart, and he played everyone like a fiddle. He didn't say no. He didn't say yes. He said the very political answer of, I'm focusing what I'm doing right now. He sounded like a football coach preparing for the next game. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. Maybe he could go to SeaWorld and be a dolphin trainer.
He'd still get buried there, Brad. Let's be serious. Let's be serious. Okay, well, King Barrett. Oh, man, that's just such a terrible,
Speaking
terrible
of dolphins, I'm sorry. I have to point this out.
What?
Did you know a dork is a dolphin's dick?
No.
Yeah.
Are you going somewhere with this?
No, I'm not. I just wanted to point that out.
Then why that? What? Yes. I mean, all right, that's interesting. So,
of course, it's interesting.
I've been calling people dolphin dicks for 10 years.
Yeah, and dolphin dicks are huge. So when people are calling you a dork, it's actually a compliment.
I don't think that's a compliment, Brad.
Oh, okay. That's the way I take it.
So you'd like to be called a dolphin dick? Really? Is that what you want? Yeah,
sure. A huge dolphin dick. You can call me that all day long. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Oh, with the yolks, everybody. Now moving on to, you know what, Brad? This one's for you. This one, I thought of you immediately whenever this news got announced, even though I was one of the first to announce it. But where's my credit? God knows where. the WWE announced the debut of the Global Cruiserweight series on the WWE Network for only the small price of $9.99.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this.
I know you would be.
This is something I've been saying for a while that they should bring in, the Cruiserweight division. They need to really go somewhere with this. They're going to do it on the NXT stage, so they'll have the hardcore fans. They're really going to enjoy it. They're going to bring in some good talent. I wouldn't be surprised to see a guy like Zack Sabre Jr. So, yeah.
Well,
I think it's going to be real good.
I don't know about that because remember, Sabre Jr. was just interviewed by Sports Illustrated. He said he's not in any hurry to go there. I don't blame him either.
Yeah, I mean, he says that, but if they, put this offer in front of him, you never really know. A lot can happen in several months. I think they're going to bring in some talent. I mean, they have to. It's 32 contestants over 10 weeks, beginning on July 13th. So they've got a lot of airtime. They've got a lot of contestants, a lot of cruiserweights to bring in. Some will be current roster cruiserweights. And you know what? The truth is, if they're 215, if they're 220, they're going to kayfabe it. It doesn't really fucking matter. So just keep that in mind. Like I saw someone on Twitter say to a current NXT talent, "Oh, you can't do that because you need to lose another 20 pounds." Guess what, asshole? This isn't it's kayfabe. And if you believe that, you also believe that Dolph Ziggler is 212 or 18 pounds or whatever the fuck, and all this other bullshit. They're just going to kayfabe it if they're close. If they're somewhat close, they're just going to kayfabe the weight if they want them in, and that's just the reality. But I think there's going to be a lot of good talent in this, and I'm very excited about it.
Do you have any early predictions?
I think they're really going to raise the bar. I do. I think they're going to raise the bar, and I hope it's not a total spot fest. I hope they still work safe and smart. But I think they're going to raise the bar, and this is the thing that really got me into WCW, their cruiserweight division. Guys like Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Rey Mysterio Jr., Psychosis. You can go on and on and on.
Jushin Thunder Liger.
Yeah, and so I'm really looking forward to it. And we'll see what happens.
Do you have any predictions as to who's going to win? I'm telling you, these are the no. These are the equivalent to the way too early bowl rankings for when college football ends and for the next season. So I'm making you do it. Early predictions of who's going to win. I'm serious.
Zack Sabre Jr.
Okay.
And maybe he's not in it, but I'll know more once we get to 32. I'll be able to tell you.
Well, do you know when that's going to be announced? Because the tournament starts in June, so they don't have a lot of time.
Well, the tournament's July 13th is when the show starts.
July.
I mean, so they do have like 5 months, but I don't know. I don't know how far in advance they'll announce it. I would advance it and announce just in advance just to give it a little buzz.
Yeah. So I'm going to take a guess, and it is an NXT guy. I'm saying it's Johnny Gargano.
Could be.
Think about it. The guy's going to sign a contract. If he hasn't, he will.
Yeah, I mean, I expect him to be in the tournament.
Is Ciampa under, even though it's kayfabe, is he under? I think he's a little bit too big. Look-wise.
He could be in it as well, honestly.
There's Rich Swann.
Rich Swann he'll definitely be in it.
Yeah, and he's been used on the show at least once. Mm-hmm. Rich Swann, Johnny Gargano. Don't be surprised if I was gonna say Kalisto, but he's in the main roster full time now. Sabre Jr. is another one. Leo Rush from the Ring of Honor. Don't be surprised if he gets in there. There's going to be a lot of Evolve wrestlers there, and you know that to be true.
Man, if Leo Rush got in there, I would be very excited about that.
You like Leo Rush? He's a good friend of my buddies who wrestles for PWX in Pittsburgh. Said he's a really nice dude. The guy is more athletic than you can ever imagine. Another one, Patrick Clark, will probably be in the tournament.
You do know, I told you that I interviewed Leo Rush.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did. I interviewed Leo Rush in the summer of last year for PW Insider.
Oh,
And
never
I predicted he would be a star then. It was, man, he's so driven to succeed, and just really super. For someone who just debuted last year, his presentation, the overall package is so good for someone who just started last year. And he actually, in my ROH review at voicesofwrestling.com, he's in the top rope. Oh boy. He does go off the top rope. He's in the top prospect tournament. And, spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear this, fast forward 5 seconds. He wins it. And so in this week's match, it's the final first round match. And his match was just great. So I'm a huge fan of his. And yeah, he follows me on Twitter too. Anyway,
nice.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I think, if they could pull him, he would be a big catch. I think ROH would be very wise to get him in a deal now. But yeah, we'll see. We'll definitely see. And, again, the possibilities here are endless. So it's very exciting for someone like me. If you really enjoyed the WCW Cruiserweight stuff, or if you're, a newer fan who isn't necessarily enthralled by the big guys, the big shows, the Braun Strowmans, I think you're going to really dig this.
Yeah, you think so? You think so? I'm just kidding. I'm sure. Yeah, I know. I agree with you too. I'm still going to go with Gargano. I don't know and we're going to see. They should, if they want to do it the right way, they should be promoting who's in it 2 months in advance. I think that's fair. I hope it's 2 months in advance. I really do. But
I mean, if I were them, I would release a couple of names every week or every few days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really build it up.
So I completely agree. So, and by the way, Ring of Honor's new set, they're really improving. That contract they signed with that sports, is it ATN, that Sinclair signed? Man, they got a lot of cash, and it looks like they're going to put it towards some wrestling.
Yeah, I think the new set debuts on next week's show. But man, yeah, it's very WWE-like. It really gives them an added amount of legitimacy to their presentation and production. It's fantastic.
And wasn't that what that should have been their goal all along? I understand that they don't want to be like WWE, but they also have to follow the format of what people want today. And unfortunately, it's that format of what it's supposed to look like. The 6-sided ring with that Impact had was innovative for its time, but we don't want to see that anymore. That's just an example. All right, moving on. Brock Lesnar, and he admitted something that a lot of people glossed over. I mean, I reported it today, did a whole video on it, and it's gotten some feedback. But why aren't people talking about it? And I think people. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say let's revisit exactly what he said and what everybody should be talking about. Let's take a look.
I want to ask you about Daniel Bryan. He was our guest last week. He made news when he announced his retirement at just 34 years of age. Severe concussions that he has had to deal with for years. What was your reaction to the sudden end of such a big star's career?
Well, I think he made a wise choice. I mean, there's over the years, I can't even count on both my hands the amount of concussions that I probably had and didn't even know.
Wow,
that's bad.
That's real bad. Can you tell me that they could send him for a brain scan like they did Daniel Bryan, and they would advise him to return to the ring right now?
No,
I don't think so.
Well, what choice do they have? Just make.
Well, we talked about. Well, I was just, we talked about this last week, and we wondered how many of the active roster would fail that, and this to me is a clear case. of someone who would probably fail it. And
Yeah.
I think this was a huge gaffe on his part. I don't think he realized what he even said.
I don't know about that. Brock's a really smart guy. So
Oh, I don't think so. I think that dude is dumb as a ton of bricks. But I think he was just being honest. I think that's what it amounted to. He was being honest, and he didn't realize really what he was saying, and put WWE in an interesting position because he's saying this on SportsCenter. So, what do you do now? You just ignore it?
yeah, that's what you do. Because I don't think wrestling fans are going to be, kind of like the Titus O'Neil racism thing, which got a huge outcry of a reaction from the entire universe. I don't think this is going to, because nobody's talking about it except for like a couple of people.
Yeah, but that's a major problem that not enough people are talking about it. That's a huge problem. I mean, this is the kind of thing that could end up making something like UFC obsolete down the road in the long term.
Why do you think so?
Because I think CTE and all of the development around the brain activity and concussions, I think it's going to majorly change the NFL and UFC, and it's going to change it in a way that's negative to their business. I do. I think it's going to be long term. It's not going to happen overnight. But I think in a faraway future, it's going to drastically change their business model.
But shouldn't it be said the same about professional wrestling? Because not consistently, but let's say in the past 10 years, there might be more concussions in wrestling than there are in UFC and NFL as a whole. Maybe it's too big of a sample size for wrestling because not even that. There's even less wrestlers than there are football players and UFC practitioners, MMA fighters. I don't know. I think wrestling, they don't see wrestling as a sport, so I don't think people give a shit. I really don't. I don't think they care enough.
Maybe they don't. It's like it doesn't matter if it's a work or if it's not. A concussion is a concussion, right? It doesn't matter if you
absolutely
paint houses or if you're a garbage man or you're, an office worker or a wrestler or a fighter. It doesn't matter. Concussion's a concussion. And it doesn't matter how big and strong you are. It's going to affect you.
I don't think wrestling is going to really be in that much impacted. Because WWE, just like the steroid scandal, is going to just brush it under the rug until they're really in trouble. And I didn't want to bring this up because I don't want this to happen, but could it turn into another Chris Benoit? I hope to God not. But what happened after Benoit died, Brad? I mean, I wasn't watching then. You tell me. I just know the aftermath from the research I've done, but I wasn't there watching when that happened.
Well, I mean, it definitely changed the way they did business. It was more politically correct, but as far as the stuff it should have changed, it really didn't. I think when you look at guys like Chris Benoit, guys like Harley Race, the ones that use the headbutt, the diving headbutt, and they had long-term problems, that's something you shouldn't do. And granted, we didn't have the technology at that time to be able to diagnose something like, the problem that Chris Benoit had. He had CTE. He had a brain of someone who was in their 80s, I think, an Alzheimer's patient in their 80s or something. It was insane. The guy should not have been wrestling in a ring. He should have been, receiving medical help. So we have the advances now, so you can't Monday morning quarterback. But, hopefully in the future, the goal would be to prevent this kind of stuff from happening. These guys need to get tested. I think they need to be proactive. I think they should have to go as part of a physical for a brain scan, and I think they should have to get it every year. I think they should have to pass it every year.
All right,
and
so
if they don't, they can't wrestle.
Then you eliminate half the roster.
But it's eliminating half the roster because of the style they work today. You can't tell me that 30 years ago, that even 25, 20 years ago, that guys would have been in the same boat.
No. Well, No, I wouldn't say half. And that's a good example. Why do you think if Austin and Michaels, Sting, Undertaker,
You can't tell me Undertaker would pass a brain scan right now.
No,
I don't believe it. The guy nearly looked like he died in the ring against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
I mean, it was bad.
He did have a concussion. He got sent to the hospital, and Vince went with him. Absolutely. But what I'm saying is, people back then could last longer. I mean, imagine if Ric Flair started wrestling in 2007, and he was, 21, 22.
Oh, my God.
And
forget about it. He wouldn't be nearly as over.
I'm not saying in the aspect of getting over. I'm talking about like the style of wrestling and how long you could last durability wise.
That's what I'm saying. He couldn't have done that. I mean, he could go 60 minutes, but I mean, he couldn't be doing all the flippity-doo spot fest like the Young Bucks. He couldn't be doing that. And you didn't have to do that because it was called working smart and working safe.
Yeah.
And realizing that your body is your income and you need to protect it to be able to pay your bills for the long term. It's common sense.
I guarantee you that the reason the older generation of wrestlers could still wrestle right now if they wanted to, because they preserved their bodies.
Absolutely.
90% of the wrestlers right now could not wrestle when they were 45. That's a promise.
I mean, hell, do you think the Young Bucks are going to be able to wrestle in 10 years at this rate?
Nope. Could Neville? No. No. Look at Daniel Bryan. He was just one of the first ones to get caught. It's a shame that couldn't happen to like a fucking jobber. I don't want anyone to lose their job and stop doing what they do, but Bryan was the unfortunate example. The first one to really come out and say, yeah, I'm fucked up. And he's fucked up.
Yeah, for me, this is the Daniel Bryan thing. The biggest thing that came out of this is I think we're going to look back on this years down the road as a big game changer. And I think that's going to be the biggest impact in all of this.
I agree. It's just going to be when that big impact takes place. And the NFL is going to have it too, so will the UFC. It's just going to happen everywhere. It's just all a matter of when. So, I'm really intrigued to see what you thought of Monday Night Raw. For me, I see the first hour, I thought that was the best first hour of Raw in a long-ass time. After that, questionable. But we'll start off with a hit or miss of the Fatal 5-Way for the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, I think this is a hit for me overall.
Great match. Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they have bigger plans for Dean Ambrose for WrestleMania and beyond, so I think that's why he had to drop the Intercontinental Championship. I'm okay with that. It only made sense to put it back on Kevin Owens. He did a good job with the Intercontinental Championship, and frankly, he needed some momentum after 3 straight TV losses in a week's time. He needed it. It worked out well. The only problem I had, I'd have to throw a flag on this match, is how do you give a guy like Stardust or Tyler Breeze an Intercontinental Championship shot?
It's a good question. I can't answer that.
It's not logical.
Well, of course not. But, hey, it provided a good match, right? There's some good spots in there from Tyler and Stardust. I'm not going to complain. I'm really not. Now, I want to know your thoughts on the Ambrose. So, the WWE in general has been teasing Dean as the top guy for the last 3 weeks. Where the fuck is Roman Reigns? He's not even the focal point of the show. They don't talk about him.
They're hiding him. They're doing their best to hide him right now. This is all, I'm telling you, it's all going to backfire if they go with the Roman Reigns babyface versus Triple H at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
For the championship, it's all going to backfire. Are they heading towards a Brock and Dean Ambrose match? There's a possibility. I would like to see it. because I don't think Dean is winning. But if he does, that's great. But if not, I think that would be a great match for him as well.
When Ambrose tried to hit Reigns with the Dirty Deeds, the place exploded. And when he didn't do it, they booed him.
Yeah.
And Anaheim is not a marked crowd, folks. That ain't New York. That ain't Philly. That's fucking Anaheim, California. It ain't London.
I posted on Twitter. I said, "Are you listening, Vince?"
Well, clearly he's not, because that main event. But we'll get to that in a little bit. Reigns, he was on TV for 7 minutes, and he's your top guy.
And he did nothing. And he did nothing except stand there.
He stood there, said,
and he did one of his stupid smirks.
Yeah. I wonder who now. Clearly, what if this is all just a tease, just to make everyone more intrigued about the main event at Fast Lane, and they're doing this all for nothing, and Roman's going to win anyway?
That's the most likely scenario.
But wouldn't that be the biggest kick in the dick to fans right now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's one thing to try to lead up to something, but don't throw it in our face. I mean, right at this point, it's blatantly obvious what they're playing, what they're portraying. Their plans are for Ambrose to win, or Ambrose to hit the Dirty Deeds on Roman, and for the Wyatts to interrupt with Lesnar. Because we all know the Wyatts are going to kick the ass of the three old-ass fogies in the ring at Fast Lane and interrupt Lesnar to that climactic Bray or even Braun versus Lesnar match at WrestleMania to take out the Titans of WWE, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah, right now there's a couple of different options. They could go with Lesnar and Ambrose and then instead throw the Wyatts in there with Undertaker, Kane, and someone else like a Ryback. And God, I hope they don't do that, but it's a possibility.
Well, that's the Fast Lane match. Is it not? Are we not getting the 6-man tag?
Well, you're not getting the Undertaker.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
You're not getting the Undertaker.
No, Braun Undertaker is not happening. We both have that on good authority. That is not taking place.
They don't, Vince wanted it to take place, but and John Cena is doing everything he can to return so that it doesn't take place.
Yeah. Well, from I think it was PW Insider, they said the Taker opponent, which Undertaker requested, no one will ever see coming. What does that mean? What does it mean? Yeah, I don't know. Who are you not expecting? Kane? I'll take a Kane Taker 3. It'd be more interesting than most.
I have no desire to see that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll take it over Strowman. I'll take Hornswoggle and Undertaker over Strowman. Because everybody likes watching midgets get chokeslammed.
Yeah, sounds about right. Sounds about right. All right. The Miz versus AJ Styles. I really don't have a big opinion on this. I mean, Styles is awesome. He won, thank God. And The Miz is showing why he's still a good worker. That's really all I have to say about that one. Jericho is also great on commentary, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I really enjoyed the Miz versus AJ Styles match. I thought, hell, it's one of the best matches Miz has ever had. Certainly the best match he's had in a long time. Yeah, I thought it was really good. He does a really good job. He's criminally underrated at what he does. He's really good at putting over baby faces and talking on the mic and all those kind of things. And yeah, it was good. And it was a good win for AJ Styles. It doesn't look like he's doing the Styles Clash, or it's only going to be for big matches, because he is using the calf crusher. And it was
it's a cool spot. I like it. I like it.
It was the calf killer. Now it's the calf crusher. And, if it gets any more PG, it'll be the calf cuddler.
Oh, well, semantics.
Yeah.
Semantics. Yeah, but I thought it was good. It's going to lead to, spoiler alert, kids who watch SmackDown, I don't know why you still do, AJ and Jericho at Fast Lane. So look out for that. Now, the Alberto Del Rio foot stomp finisher on Sin Cara. You have strong feelings about this. I really don't care. But do you have such strong feelings?
Because it's terrible. It's terrible. It's a terrible spot. It's completely unbelievable. We're supposed to believe that he's going to lay in the middle of the ring between the ropes, hold himself, and it's like, come on. He's just laying there, holding on the ropes, and he's just going to wait for Del Rio to jump across the ring and stomp him instead of just dropping his hands. And Del Rio is a veteran, and he knows better. He took his time getting up the ropes to soak in the booze. And meanwhile, Sin Cara is just laying there, holding onto the ropes, waiting for this fucker to come foot stomp him. It's the most dumb, unrealistic finishing move right now. I hate it. They need to get rid of it. As a veteran, he's way too good to be doing this stuff. They got to change his finisher. It's not good at all.
Well then. Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit unbelievable. I got to admit. All right, last but not least, Beef Stroganoff versus Braun Strowman versus The Big Show as the main event. So let me take you guys through play-by-play before Brad rips his own hair out. So, yeah, they sent out an SMS, a text, a tweet, a Vine, whatever the fuck, that Braun Strowman was facing The Big Show in the main event of Monday Night Raw. And the match lasted 3 minutes or so. It didn't even start till 11:01. So the big men grappled up against each other. I think one licked each other's ear. And, I think there was a suplex on show at one point. Wyatt's got all pissed off and junk. And all of a sudden, there was a DQ. And Big Daddy Big Show is getting pounded in the middle of the ring. So what happens? Feud me war. And Ryback comes out, all hot shit. He starts fighting, and the Wyatt still numbers game. Byron. They take out Ryback and the Big Show, and what do you know? Fucking Kane comes out through the ring and shit, and he starts pounding everybody, and the baby faces get the upper hand, and that's your go-home segment for Fastlane, which has a triple threat match to determine the number one contender for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania in the main event. Go ahead.
This was obviously a giant troll. They just completely gave up on the third hour. It was a complete abortion.
Oh, boy.
And I don't know what the fuck they were thinking.
Oh, boy.
In 2016, that we would want to see The Big Show versus Braun Strowman, who's still learning the difference between a wrist lock and a wrist watch. This match was fucking terrible. And it was real short, and it was real bad. I don't even know what they were thinking. No, I know what they were thinking. We're going to have Kane come through the ring. Ooh, because we haven't seen that 10 times before. And so, because Kane is going to come through the ring for no reason, like he couldn't just fucking walk out to the ring, we have to have this match on last. Otherwise, the wrestlers can't work in the ring. So because of Kane and his through the ring spot, this stupid abortion of a match has to be on as the main event. I can't think of many other matches that I would rather not see in WWE than between these two. This was a joke, a big, giant joke. And I've rendered you speechless.
Clearly. Well, one thing I can certainly say for sure, is that I agree 100%. And I know it's obvious, and this is all a Vince McMahon call because they're big guys. They're big guys that do absolutely nothing. They do absolutely nothing for the fans, and 10 years ago, this would have been kind of sweet. Not so much.
God. When is this guy going to retire?
I have different feelings on him now. Did you watch his podcast with Stone Cold?
I'm sorry. I had no desire to see that.
Oh no, you need to listen to it. That is
and I've heard several people say, "Oh, it's so wonderful."
It is. It's fucking great.
That's great.
You need to watch it. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. Fucking Big Show's drink. He's fucking like fucking. What am I trying to say? He's kicking back beers. He's drinking Austin's IPA. It's fucking great. He even drops an F-bomb on the podcast, and they didn't catch it. It was hilarious. You need to watch the podcast. It's good. I would never lead you. It is good. I would never lead you astray.
It's not going to be at the top of my priority list. I'll tell you that much.
You should watch it. I'm telling you, you need to watch it. But okay, yeah, the main event was a horrible piece of shit. We know that. So let's move on to our predictions for WWE Fast Lane. A couple of them I'm not so sure about. Just a couple. So, first and foremost, the kickoff match, the pre-show between ADR, Alberto Del Rio, and Kalisto. 2 out of 3 falls. I got the new version of Rey Mysterio himself, Kalisto.
Could be. I'm going to take Alberto Del Rio.
They're not going to take it off of Kalisto again. There's no way.
Who the hell knows at this point? I mean, it doesn't really matter. They've taken the U.S. Championship, and I'm not his biggest fan, but John Cena and the way they booked the U.S. Championship, and they've taken that luster and they've just completely ruined it. So it really whatever.
I don't know, man. I feel like they're gonna keep that rocket ship up. Well, that tiny little mini rocket on Kalisto and let him go for a little while. I do.
More like a sparkler or something.
All right, so the Intercontinental Championship match, which doesn't make any sense because Owens in his interview with Renee said, "Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to face anybody. No, Ziggler, you don't get the rematch." And yet an hour later, Michael Cole says, "Yeah, Ziggler and Owens at Fast Lane." So okay, Owens is keeping the belt. Absolutely, no chance otherwise.
Yeah, Dolph Ziggler has no chance in hell.
No, he does not. I would really like to see AJ Styles come out of the Jericho feud hot and take on Kevin Owens at Mania. Man, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. But who knows? So, all right, we can agree on that one. Now for the Divas Championship. Charlotte takes on Bella.
Yeah. Well, she'll be retiring soon. I guess retiring, you could say. Ha ha ha. I'll be here all week, folks. Yeah, for me, I would pick Charlotte. That's my original pick. I'm going to stick with it. Could Brie win? I suppose. She's got some sympathy behind her, but I'm going to stick with Charlotte. I think that's the direction they're going in.
I don't see Charlotte losing whatsoever. There's no point. So are they going to have Brie go into WrestleMania as the Divas Champion? No fucking way, man. No way. No way. Okay. No way. All right, so the match no one cares about: Ryback, Kane, and Big Show versus the Wyatt family. Probably Harper, Rowan, and Strowman. I have yeah. I have the Wyatt family. I might not even watch, honestly. I'll be.
This is so bad. This is so bad. It's like, this really could be a pre-show match.
It could.
I don't know. On a go-home show of Raw, you don't have a match that's not already on the card. So that's why I thought Raw was a bad go-home show. And now they've made the match after the fact. They just announced it on the internet or something. What the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't really care. It's like, I'm going to pick the Wyatt family.
Me too.
But who cares? This match is going to suck. It's going to suck.
Well, there we are. I have a theory about the Cutting Edge Peep Show with Edge and Christian, which I'm really excited about. I really am. That's going to be really entertaining. I think we might see the debut of a new tag team on the main roster. Just think about it. The Dudleys are going to try to put over the Usos. Who else is left?
Big Cass and Enzo, baby.
Yep. Now, where's Fast Lane being held? Do you remember? Is it Cleveland?
Good question. I don't know.
It really doesn't matter, I guess. It has nothing to do with one or the other. Well, yeah. What do you think about that? Why else would the New Day be on that show? And even though Enzo and Cass are over as fuck, what better way to introduce a new team than to put them with the best tag team of all time, Edge and Christian?
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, they're wrestling for the tag team champions. Are they wrestling a takeover in Dallas?
No. The rumored match is Jordan and Gable against Dash Dawson.
Yeah, I think you're right. So I guess what I'm getting at is, if they're not booked at Takeover Dallas, then they could be at the main card by then. I mean, I know they're wrestling in dark matches on the main roster now. So it's possible they could be called up at any time, technically. It could very well happen. It definitely makes sense. I mean, they need a face team. The Dudleys have gone heel. The Usos are just getting booed, and they need a change. And so, this is a great opportunity for a team like Enzo and Cass. So I think it's very possible that they debut between Fastlane and the night after WrestleMania. I think it's very likely they debut.
Oh, yeah. And there's already going to be at least one NXT debut on the Raw after Mania, which is probably going to be Samoa Joe. But there could always be two. Well, hell, last year it was Neville and the Lucha Dragons. So anything can happen. All right, so Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch versus Naomi and Tamina. We already know who's going to win, so let's move on. Chris Jericho and AJ Styles. Who takes home the cake?
The rookie redneck. The Pitbull.
The Hobbit.
The Hobbit. What else can they do to point out this guy's flaws?
That's a shoot. It's a fucking shoot. I said it on Twitter. It's a shoot. I don't know what else I have to do to prove to people. What's Vince's deal, huh? What's his deal?
He loves the big guys, and Vince thinks that the only way to get a guy the size of AJ Styles over, who's probably just under 200 pounds and 5'7" to 5'8" tops, guys that size, he thinks the only way to get them over is by doing exactly what he did with Daniel Bryan and what he's doing with AJ Styles now. And that is such an archaic way of thinking. It's just embarrassing. And he's not doing AJ Styles any favors by doing this either. I think Styles is going to win.
He will. He has to. All right, now the main event. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose for the number one contendership for the World Heavyweight Championship in the WWE. Who wins it?
I'm going to stick with Roman Reigns.
Why?
I am doubling down on the Roman Empire.
Ugh. So you think this whole Ambrose thing has been just a, just that? Just for shits?
More than likely.
It's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's possible they could go in a different direction. I mean, if they were listening to their fans, they would go in a different direction. Roman Reigns will be the least over wrestler in this match. There's no question about it. If they listen to their fans, he is not the direction they'll go in. If they don't, if they stick to the plan, which Vince seems to be hell-bent on doing, time after time, example after example, then it's going to be Roman Reigns. I think Daniel Bryan was an anomaly, and I don't think they plan on doing that again. They're going to stick with the plan. Roman Reigns.
It's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah, I would rather see Dean or Brock win.
Me too. Here's my pick, and I hope this is queued up properly.
And, of course, how could we forget?
How could we forget your pick?
The Raw after wrestling.
That was Dean fucking Ambrose in Japanese, everyone.
That was amazing.
Dean Ambrose, baby. I think they're going to do it. I think they're finally going to come up to their senses. There's a reason why Roman hasn't been on camera that much in 3 weeks. There has to be a reason why. He's not sick. He's not jacking off in the back. He's not getting homesick and flying home to see his daughter. It doesn't make sense not to happen. I think Ambrose is going to take the cake. He's going to eat it too and shove it in Triple H's face and win the title at Mania. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. It's going to happen.
Well, I think that's very idealistic. I think I would be incredibly happy if that happened. But I don't think it's going to happen.
I
would love to be wrong, though.
I think it's going to happen. Gotta give him a chance. You gotta give them a chance, man. It's going to happen. Ambrose is taking it. CM Punk's going to come back. He'll be in his corner. It's going to be great. It's going to be fucking great.
And then he won't be able to make the match because he'll get an injury.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that one. All right, so where can we find you on the internet? But before we get to that, what have you learned from wrestling this week?
What?
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 Are you whatting me? Or are you serious?
What?
All right, what did you learn from wrestling this week?
What?
All right, really?
What did I learn from wrestling this week? Is this what you want to know?
Yes.
What did I learn from wrestling this week? What did I learn? I learned nothing except 3 hours is a waste of my time on a Monday night. That's what I learned.
I'll disagree with you a little bit. The first hour of Raw was fucking awesome.
It was good.
No, it was fucking great. You had Ambrose open the show. Then you had the Fatal 5-Way. Then you had the New Day. And then you had fucking Ambrose almost turn on Reigns. It was great. No, that was at the end of hour 2. Either way, hour 1 was a great time for TV.
Oh, I don't know about great when you look at the ratings, but it was pretty good for sure.
What were the ratings? Did they come out yet?
They did come out. They were not very good. I mean, it was the second lowest rating in 18 years, except for, a holiday or a game, going against football. Now, granted, I understand they were going against the Grammys, so naturally it was going to be lower. It was a 2.48 rating. Okay. Last week was a 2.65 for the Daniel Bryan retirement. So, yeah, I mean, Raw is definitely down 250,000 viewers from last week. Now, granted, again, the Grammys, and I've got it on good authority that Vince McMahon is going to fix this problem. He's going to double down on Big Show versus Braun Strowman in the first ever 120-minute Iron Man match at the main event of next Monday night's Raw.
Shut up.
120 minutes. First time ever.
All right.
And it's being reported, I'm hearing reports that Vince McMahon has been hard all week booking this match.
All right, now I know you're lying.
Yes, I'm completely fucking lying. Of course I'm lying.
Well, hey, some people might want to take you seriously. Cool your pies there, Brad. You got to relax a little bit. So, for me, what I learned is that there's a lot of teases in life.
You've been on Tinder again, I see.
No, I'm not. It's best to be a realist in times of need. So I say this. Vince and Kev, Big Kev, the Dun Man, if you, so help me God, have Roman Reigns win on Sunday. And as a prerequisite, don't book it properly. Because let's remember, everyone, wrestling, if booked properly, works nearly all the time. It's not magic. It's not wizardry. It's not, as rare as a shooting star. It can be done properly, then it usually can be done right. So, if it's not done right and Reigns just wins, smiles, and walks away, and is a yawn from thinking about how bad it'll be, there'll be a backlash like you've never seen before. I'm warning you. I just am. And that's what I learned.
Wow.
Yeah. Nothing to add?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. That's really, I mean,
Yeah,
that's all
we
you
are,
can
won't
say.
Well, let's just hope to the wrestling gods that we don't have to hope too much. That everything works out for itself, and we are watching it in happiness on Sunday night at around 10:55.
Possibly we are. Or
All right.
possibly we are going to complain on the internet.
Well, let's end this podcast the right way. Where can we find you on the internet, Brad?
You can find me.
Oh, hey, the little oaf!
The hell was that? And no, don't play it again. What was that? Okay.
Shut up, you fat, bald-headed little oaf!
Sid Vicious is the greatest. Okay. You can find me, you fat, bald-headed little oafs, on Twitter at VOTV Podcast. It is our official Twitter account now. Voices of the Voiceless Podcast, VOTV Podcast. And you can see tweets from me about exciting stuff, including wrestling. And that's really about it.
Yeah, and you can find me on the Twitter machine at John Fisher IQ, just like always. Go like our Facebook page, Wrestling News Hub. We post all of our crap there. And if you'd like, I have a YouTube. Just search Voices of the Voiceless Podcast every Thursday at 1 p.m. You could find it there. And I'm currently in the process of getting our website up and running. And yeah, that's it. So let's go out of style. And we just talked about, being realistic, and if we don't get what we want, we're going to complain on the internet. I think one wise man once talked about this reality once, maybe even twice. Let's take a listen.
You know what I'm gonna do about it? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna tweet my displeasure. That's right. I'm gonna jump on social media and I'm gonna tweet about it until my fingers bleed. I might even send an Instagram or a Vine. That's right. And on that tweet, and however many characters I get, I am gonna threaten. That's right. If I don't get what I want, I'm gonna riot. and if that doesn't work, then by God, me and my friend Mark, we're gonna stop watching. That's right.
Oh my God.
He's right, because that's exactly what we're going to do. All right, everyone. We'll see you all next week. Thursday at 1
See
o'clock,
you, Mark.
folks. Bye. Yeah, bye, Mark. Oh, man. Hot damn.